Hey Suns fans, I'm Lindsay Smith and welcome into another episode of the Outlet Podcast. We just wrapped up game 44 of the regular season, so joining me now are my broadcast partners, Kevin Ray and Eddie Johnson. Guys, thanks for hanging out with me after a long day of work.
Is that all?
Well, I mean, you're just supposed to say thanks for having me, Lindsay. Like, I'm so excited to be here with you.
You get the attaboy.
On top of a check, yeah.
You get the attaboy.
All right, maybe drinks on me on this road trip, okay?
Perfect.
How about that? So I would like to start with just a mid-season check-in. Just get your thoughts so far on the team as a whole to this point in the season.
In a lot of ways, and we talked about it on the telecast against the Pacers. There's been a lot of positives, but there's been so many start-stops throughout the course of the season. Of course, the biggest stop was the 25-game suspension with with DA. But then the injuries with Ricky and Aaron, and then of late with the bench with Cam and Aaron, and of course Frank Kaminsky, and as a result. And we've talked about it. I mean, Monty hasn't really been able to formulate a continuous game plan, because it seems like anything beyond 4 or 5 games, he's had to create something different.
Yeah, it's been tough. But you can't feel sorry, because a lot of teams have dealt with injuries during the course of the year. But the one person that's stayed the course and not stepped out of line and what Monty would like is Devin. Devin has still stayed very unselfish. He hasn't turned into the Devin that we've been used to, that can go out there and score 40, 50 points, although at times this year we've needed him to do it. The injuries are a major factor. But you know what? They've put themselves in a position to still have a chance to make the playoffs.
Right.
And that's only going to work if they can get on a nice roll here. These 2 losses at home really hurt. But now they got to go out on the road and they got to make up for it. But it's only going to happen as they get healthy. I mean, this has been a major issue for this team all year.
Yeah, absolutely. But one of the things that all of the guys on this team have talked about pretty consistently throughout the year, and Coach Monty has mentioned it too, is the resiliency of this team, the fight that they bring. Even if they're down X amount of points, there's always that fight back in the game. What have you guys seen from that perspective from this team?
Yeah, I think that's for us, even in a game against, the Pacers, as kind of ugly and rough as it was, Monty with the staff coming in, they've had a level of accountability. And, I think it took a while for the guys to kind of figure it out. And even being shorthanded and playing in some ugly games, they're going to continue to play hard, because they know that's the standard that is being set now.
Yeah, they have no choice. If they don't, then they're not going to play. And Monty has sent that message throughout the year. And it doesn't matter who you are. He'll take you out and he'll roll with guys till the end if they're getting the job done. And that's the way it should be on any team. You should be rewarded. Yeah, the stars are going to play. He's going to give them a little bit more rope. For the most part, he's going to hold you accountable if you don't get the job done. And I think that's been the beauty of this team this year. Has it been a disappointment since the start of the season? Yes. But do we understand why? Yes. The injuries and things of that nature, and the youthfulness that they have that has gotten them in tough situations. And they've lost a lot of close games this year because they don't have that experience. And they're learning from that right now, and it should get nothing but better.
All right, let's dive a little bit more into Coach Monty Williams, first-year head coach with the Phoenix Suns. What do you like about the way that he is leading this team?
I think for me, it goes back to what I said earlier about accountability. I mean, Monty said from the jump, no more gifted minutes. And, as EJ said, guys know now that if they're not playing to that standard, that they're likely to could sit for the game, could sit for an extended period. And I think we're far enough along into the season, guys know that, and as a result, they basically police themselves. And I think, and Monty would be the first to tell you that this comes from his past coaching stops, that he's really allowed his entire coaching staff to do their jobs. And I think as a result of that, we're now beginning to see solid player development, come to fruition, something that, we hadn't seen in the last 5 or 6 years.
One thing as a player, what you would like from your coach is that he lets you know what your role is. And so when you show up to a game, okay, you know that I'm in the rotation. You know that I'm going to get a certain amount of minutes. You know when he's going to put you in. And you've earned that. And that's what you want. And then also what's expected of you. Are you a scorer? Are you a rebounder? What's going to keep you on the floor? Monty has established all of that. That old school approach, I think, is important. He doesn't waver from it. He stands by it. And I think it's helped these guys mature and understand what's expected of them. And when they step on the floor, they give effort. And if you don't give effort, you're not going to play. And I think he sent a message to a number of players this year and a lot of the young guys who really don't know what playing hard is all about. And now they've gotten the message, what it's all about, and you don't see those mistakes anymore.
All right, let's dive into some specific players, and let's start with Devin Booker. He's the leader of this team. This year, his efficiency has only gotten better. And how have you guys seen his game improve, and what do you think could be the next thing for Devin?
Well, look, I mean, back to what EJ said, we've known that Devin has had the ability to score 70, 50, 60, but the way he is doing it and the way he is playing the game, and I know for both of us, even more so for this guy, the old school approach that he has taken since even more so the forearm injury, where he has brought his game inside the three-point stripe. But Devin has always had a great basketball IQ. And I think in a lot of ways he tried too hard to play within the framework of Monty's offense early part of the season. But over the last month, since Christmas, we've seen him step out because Monty has said, you can't wait and try to set up your teammate for the first quarter. So Devin is, playing to me, to both of us, I think at an all-star level. And I think in many ways, because this is still a new team and still early on in the development phases with this group, I think that he has another level that we haven't even seen yet.
Yeah, to really summarize, and I don't have to add much to what Kevin said. I would have said the same thing. But he's just become the leader that everyone expects. And being the best player on the team, being the guy that the franchise has invested the most in, he is definitely taking on that leadership characteristic, and that's what your stars need to do. And Devin has figured that out just being around great players. When he's gone to the All-Star game and participated in All-Star weekend, he's had to sit in the locker room and he's had to listen to these guys talk. He's had to listen to them talk about the playoffs, championships, and all of that. And he's sitting over there in the corner and can't say anything. And he's really understood that he's got to change the way that he can play, and that's what he's done.
All right, now let's head on over to DeAndre Ayton, kind of getting into the swing of things here, finding a little rhythm after missing quite a few games earlier this season.
Yeah, 14 games. His 14th game was against the Pacers, and that 14th game I think will be a great teaching tool for Monty Williams and a learning opportunity for DeAndre, because he was on a real tear. But he ran into a team and an opponent in Domantas Sabonis and Turner who, showed him a different level of physicality and different type of defending him. But I think what's been pleasing for both of us is, especially over the last 4 or 5 games, is he seems to be getting a better understanding of just how dominant he can be.
Yeah, and I think he understands that, by missing 25 games, he's missed a great learning opportunity. It's the second year. As a rookie, you don't know where you're coming and going. You don't. I mean, plays are being changed from game to game. He's having to adjust not only to his own playbook, but other teams' playbook. And it was an up-and-down season for him, although he still put up a double-double. Your sophomore year is that year where you tend to take off. And if you talk to any player, it's always happened to him. I know me personally, it happened for me. I averaged 9 points my rookie year, and the next year I averaged 19 because you've learned so much. He missed that learning period of 25 games off, and it cost him, and he's trying to get it back. And he's up and down still. He's had some very good games. The Pacer game obviously wasn't a very good game for him because it was very physical. But these are the things that he has to learn and get better at.
Kevin, how do you feel about bullying?
I don't like it. Especially during those 4 quarters in the telecast when I get bullied by my partner. But for the most part, no, I do not like bullying. I will not tolerate it.
EJ, how do you feel about bullying?
I can't stand bullying. I like fun, but it's an extent to how far you can go. See, I know how to take him to a point where I notice he's getting ready to cry and I back off. But I no way condone bullying. I think that's the worst thing.
Absolutely not. I am not a fan of bullying, and neither are the sponsors of the Outlet Podcast. So for more information on how to talk about bullying, how to help parent your child through bullying, or signs to know if your child is being bullied, just head to muststopbullying.org. All right, now let's look at the rookies this year, Cam and Ty. Just your analysis of those two in 44 games.
Yeah, I think with Cam, we've seen a kid. I mean, the reason the Suns went out and got him with his, three-point shooting ability, and went through a tough stretch right before this quad injury. But we've seen Cam, from time to time flash different layers beyond the three-point shooting, and that's just going to come with more reps and more time on the floor, with his teammates. And, Ty, he had a great training camp, great preseason. The ankle injury, I think, really set him back, I think, much further than any of us probably would have imagined. And I know you've said it before, but these guys getting a real glimpse of how hard you play in college and how hard you have to play in the NBA on a night-in, night-out basis.
Exactly. The game is so much faster, and that's the part that they don't get. And they didn't even see it in preseason. They think they did, but they didn't. It's just a different level that guys can step up, and I think they're starting to understand that. Ty, obviously, with the injury, really hurt him. And then when he got back, he was pretty much gifted a rotation, and I thought he fluctuated up and down because of that misunderstanding of how hard you have to play. And then Cam just got to get stronger. I mean, he has all the tools. He can shoot the ball, but he's got to get to the point where he can battle through the toughness and the physicality that the game brings, especially when you're a shooter.
Yeah.
And I think now he's on the scouting report that he can knock down shots. He's got to know how to play through it, and I think that's work in progress for him.
Yeah, I think one of the things Cam is trying to figure out, and Ty as well, I was talking with Cam earlier this week, just the balance of an NBA schedule. It's a lot more demanding physically, mentally, you name it, than I think, a lot of people are used to.
Yeah, there are 10 games on the other side of where they would already, their college season would be done at this point.
Exactly. So I think they're still trying to figure out that balance, that rookie wall we all talk about. All right, guys, so I want to wrap up with your thoughts looking ahead to the rest of the season. Not necessarily a prediction, but maybe hopes or what you would like to see out of these guys.
I think you just want continued growth individually and certainly collectively, but I think collectively you have to put an asterisk by it right now because it depends on the health of these guys. How soon are we going to see Frank Kaminsky back? Because Frank was playing really well before he went down. How many more games will Cam miss? And how many more games will Aaron miss? But, I think for me, it is how will this team collectively come together? They've lost 7 games, by those one-possession games. And will we see those now maybe flipped, even half of those? Can you win 4 or 5 of those one-possession games on this other side? Because I tell you what, those 4 or 5 might be the difference between sitting at home in the end of April or playing on.
I just want to see the toughness continue to grow with this team. It's a marathon. It's an 82-game season. They're starting to find out how difficult it is. You got to learn how to play hurt, not injured, but hurt. You got to know how to play through it. You have to teach yourself a lot of different things within the course of the season. And right now they have an opportunity to be great. And what I mean by that, have a chance to do something that this team has not done in, 10 years. Let's make a playoff. And so that should be their goal, despite what's happened up until this point. That should be their goal. That should be their focus. And the strong survive in this league. Because as this season winds down to an end, as you start to get into February and you still look and see you got a number of games left and you got to deal with a sore ankle. You got to deal with a sore wrist. Who's going to be tough enough to fight through it and help their team? And that's the challenge, I think, for Monty and the players as well if they want to accomplish it.
Well, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me and doing a little mid-season check-in. We appreciate
Before
we
go, though, I want to get your assessment on our sideline reporter in that first half of the season. I think she's done a great job. But my concern, and it's fitting because you wore a beautiful tie that's got some orange in it, This jacket's got some orange. I mean, I'm a little concerned about her ability to recognize colors
Yeah.
as we enter the second half of the
I
season.
know.
I mean, I do
I have
pretty
no
much only
idea
wear
how
black.
you can wear something that was what was it like?
It was
maroon?
burnt orange. Come
It
on.
wasn't no
Ethan.
burnt. Yeah, it was burnt.
We
all
got
right.
orange here in the socks. You know, you've got orange there.
Yeah,
I'm
I don't know what that orange was you had
Hopefully,
on.
maybe with the All-Star break, we can get some color correction work done.
But also, here's the other
on the sideline
problem. I mean,
report.
she does the sideline interviews, and sideline's supposed to take what, maybe a minute.
Right.
She takes 3 minutes.
No way. It's max like 120.
It's her world. We're just living in it.
I'm just
That's all
telling you.
know.
I mean,
No way.
She did one interview about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it seems like it went half the quarter.
Well, I went and grabbed popcorn. I don't know if you remember, but yeah.
geez.
I did that so you could get popcorn. You're welcome. I know I could just tell you guys were a little famished. You needed a
Yeah.
snack.
Being the team player
Well,
you
next
are.
time,
welcome.
warn us, okay?
Thank you guys.
All right.